Hi, I'm Kara, and we're looking at Lightville Community School District. Let's look at the facts. So this school district has faced an increased enrollment of about 2% each school year. They are now in need of a new middle school. They have decided on a new middle school. There are several options thrown out there. They have hired an experienced principal for this position, but she is new to the community, and she's actually new to the rural setting or rural community that she's moving into. Throughout this case, I think it's going to be important that we always keep in mind the community is split on building this new school. There were other options out there. So the biggest problem that we can identify at first is that Ms. Porter, the newly hired principal, has been charged with developing the philosophy and vision for a middle school that's set to open in just under a year. So looking at that problem of the vision, mission, and philosophy of the school, Ms. Porter wants group involvement, but the advisory committee actually wants Ms. Porter to just take charge and develop that mission, vision, and philosophy. They want them to operate under Ms. Porter's guidance and direction of that mission, vision, and philosophy. There are some ethical and legal issues at play, so let's first look into those. A vision guides a school community. So it's usually a statement that's written about the future of the school about 5 to 10 years out for that school and its future. So the biggest question that comes to my mind is, can someone new to a community take into account the community's history to create an effective vision statement that will be followed through by all? And then the second issue is that can one person create a vision for an entire community? As the school leader, the community wants Ms. Porter to create the long-range vision for a newly built middle school that will guide everyone's work. There are some things we know about this case, and there are some things we still need to know. So let's first look at the people. There are about 3 key players in this case. Ms. Porter, who's the principal, she's experienced in suburban settings, and she needs to hire, develop programs, and collaborate with construction for this building that's set to open soon. Helen is an English teacher and a social studies teacher. She's actually the advisory committee chair, and she wanted the new middle school. This new middle school actually benefits her and her family, her brothers on the board of ed, and a farmer in the community. There's a quote that says in the text that Principal Porter actually wanted to share the leadership, because actually Helen wasn't the first pick for this advisory committee. Ms. Porter was the first pick, but Ms. Porter wanted to share leadership. She said, no, I'm not going to head that committee. I'll be on it, but I will not head that. So Helen now steps up to the plate. And then Joe Rawlings, he's the superintendent. He asked for this advisory committee to be created to support Ms. Porter in her work of developing this new school. There are still some things we need to know about these people, though. We know Ms. Porter has experience as an administrator and teacher, but we don't know how many years of experience she has as an administrator and as a teacher. And then we know that she's from suburban settings and that this rural community is now new to her. But what does the clientele break down? What are the demographics of the schools that she's worked with before? Because they may actually be more representative of the clientele she's going to serve than she thinks. As far as Helen goes, we don't know how long she's been teaching either. And we don't know whether she has leadership plans or if she just stepped up to the plate because nobody else would. If she wants to be a leader, this might be a great path for her being on this committee and heading this committee. But if she has no intentions of being a leader, this would show us why they just want Ms. Porter to tell them what the vision is. And then Joe Rawlings, as far as his district goes, we don't know the demographics of his community, nor do we know the demographics of his staff. The place, that community specifically, what do we know? Well, one, we know that Ms. Porter, about the places she's been in, are typically suburban places, not rural. But we do know that Lightville is rural. They previously had 2 buildings, a K-6 and a 712, and it's about 10 miles away from a major city. Remember earlier I said that they didn't actually think they'd be in this predicament? Well, here's the quote that proves that. They believe that no additional construction would be needed for at least 40 years. This population surge of about 2% each year was unpredicted when they built this K-6 and 712 model for this community. And we need to know the specific demographics of her previous school versus her current school. Ms. Porter might have this unawareness of her demographic and how actually they're very similar, and that might ease some tension and frustration and some weariness that Ms. Porter has going into this situation. And in Lightville, we also need to know what is sparking their migration, and are they actually building a building that will sustain them for another 40 years, or will they face the same crisis in another 20 years where they're needing a new building and new spaces because their immigration has been on the rise continuously. The programs themselves, it's one screen about the need to knows and knows as far as the programming goes. We know that previously it was a K-6 structure and a 7-12 structure. And we know that Ms. Porter only had to hire 3 teachers. So most of the teachers were just shifted around to fit the needs of this new school building that they're creating. We need to know, though, what curriculum and resources are going to be at play. Are they keeping the old stuff? Are they buying new resources? What exactly is the curriculum going to be? What programs and needs do the community have? Is there going to be a sports program? Or is there a need for some homelessness and some extra support for this community? It's a rural community. What is actually going on? What are the needs of the community that also need to be met via this school building and schoolhouse? So looking at this, there's about 3 priorities that if I'm Ms. Porter, I'm going in with. 1, who's going to own this work? And then 2, I need to build capacity and delegate, because in 1 year, my school opens, a brand new school, and there's a lot on my plate. So I need to start trusting others to help out. And then 3, I need to begin looking at programming needs to align with my philosophy, mission, and vision. But that philosophy, mission, and vision also have to be created first. So when I think about creating this philosophy, mission, and vision, I have several options. 1, I can come up with the philosophy, mission, and vision myself. 2, I could work with that one willing parent on the board who wanted to actually follow the process that I thought of. 3, I could go outside the committee to develop a second committee to strictly develop the philosophy, mission, and vision. Or 4, I can come up with a couple options, present them to the committee, have them make some final decisions. Let's look really in depth at these options. Option 1, I can come up with the philosophy, mission, and vision myself. Using my personal philosophy, mission, and vision, I can turn these into the school. These will be ready by the time the next committee meets. I already have them ready right now. This makes timeline and streaming of information smooth and seamless. Option 2, I can work with that willing parent. It's much easier to plan with 2 people than it is to plan with millions of people. We'll still be able to get our proposal to the committee by probably the next time. I can also invite committee members to join this, and we'll have some draft proposals within the next meeting or 2. 3, this option's getting a little risky. I can go outside the committee. The committee doesn't want me to do this, but I can still choose to develop my own committee that strictly looks at that philosophy, mission, and vision. I can have both teachers to see if anybody wants to help. I can set several meeting dates to work on this as a team. I can present the progress to the committee each committee meeting, and I can present final draft proposals within hopefully 2 months, but because more people involved, this could take more time. And then finally 4, I can present several options that I worked on independently to the committee, get their input, and then we can create some draft proposals together. There are pros and cons to all of these. Like, if I come up with it myself, it's going to be fast and easy, and it's directly supporting my stance. The con is that I own all of this work, and my priority was that I share ownership, and then we can own shared learning. If I work with that willing parent, it's a small group, it's still fast, it's easy, and I do have that parent viewpoint, but it's still only limited, and still only a small group owns this work. Or if I go outside the committee to develop a second committee, then more voices are heard, more ownership. The community actually has a chance to be a part of this process, but then I might actually, on the con side, be undermining the advisory committee. And again, this option 3 takes a lot of time. I can present a few options to the committee, then have them decide on the final versions. This is fast. This all will support my viewpoint because, again, I'm the only one involved. And the committee still has input because I present some versions to them and then they come up with a final version. This is very individual heavy and no one outside the committee is involved. I'm choosing So if I'm Ms. Porter, I am choosing option 3. I'm choosing to go outside the committee to develop a second committee to strictly develop the mission, vision, and philosophy of this new school. I know I am risking undermining the committee, but I know that having more voices heard and more ownership of this work will lead to a long-term vision, mission, and philosophy that this school can operate under even once I'm gone, because true leadership is shown when a leader leaves the school. Can they still operate when that leader is not present? The community also is something that I am new to. I cannot voice the needs or wants or desires of this committee, of this community, without having voices of the community present. So how am I going to go about this? I am going to actually invite several different stakeholders. The advisory committee is going to be invited. Teachers will be invited. Parents will be invited, and surrounding business owners will be invited. I will have pre-scheduled meetings and agenda items. We still have a timeline to follow, and I still have things that need to be done, but the buy-in of the community of this vision, mission, and philosophy is so important and crucial that I think everybody needs to be invited to be part of this conversation. This pre-scheduled meeting and agenda items will also help progress our work so that we do get things done still in a timely manner, still be more time, but in a timely manner. Option 3 seems to support student learning the best. As Ms. Porter and the principal of this new school, my job is to ensure that students are first, and I want to go back to my priorities. The ownership of the work. We all own this work. When we take option 3, everyone that's involved, all the stakeholders own the work. Therefore, they support the work. And it's not just my work, it's our work. 2, I have built capacity by going through option 3. I have delegated responsibilities. I have shown leadership. I have modeled leadership for them, and I have shown that I trust them to do the work, which is why they are here at the table with me. And then 3, I can begin to look at programming needs that align with the philosophy, mission, and vision while working with this team. I know my team. I learn the needs of my community so much better when my community is sitting at a table with me, and then I can begin to develop what this community needs as far as their new middle school goes. So thank you.